Well, I fucked up. I curb rashed one of the wheels. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a great day. Today we are going to be repairing a wheel that I messed up the other day. I was taking my son to karate class and I wasn't paying attention and I hit the curb with the truck. Yeah, it didn't sound good. I knew I messed up the wheel, but it's not that bad. I think I can fix it. So today I'm going to show you the steps on hopefully repairing your wheel. If your wheel looks like mine, I'm going to show you hopefully the steps on what it takes to repair your wheel. Okay, so here is my truck. If you don't know about my 95 Ford Lightning, it's been a nice great project for me the last year, and I just got these wheels last year, and yeah, well, I already messed them up. Like I said, it was my fault. I wasn't paying attention and I hit the curb and curb rashed the wheel all the way, basically all the way around. It starts from right there and it goes all the way around to right there, so it's about 3/4 of the wheel. And yeah, it's actually pretty nasty curb rash in some sections, but I think we can fix it. I know we can fix it. Went ahead and picked up some, let's see what I got here, different grits of sandpaper. Okay, so this one here has 80, 180, 400, and 1500. So we're gonna go ahead and take the wheel off first, and yeah, start sanding it down. I picked some of this flat black wheel spray paint to hopefully match the wheel, because the wheel is kind of a flat black. But first, the step is taking off the wheel. So I'm gonna jack it up and take the wheel off real quick. All right, guys. So with the wheel off, we can assess the damage here a little better, and it looks like we can sand down most of these. Some of these are pretty deep, like right here. This is really deep right here, but for the most part, these are just kind of light scratches. I always say light, but you know, we need to sand these marks down before we paint the wheel. We could go ahead and just paint the wheel, but if you were to paint it, you would see all these marks right through the paint. So we need to sand this down smooth like the rest of the wheel, like this, so when we go ahead to paint it, it'll look like this and not show up all scuffed up, because it'll look nasty. So this is where the sandpaper comes in. We're not going to use the 80 because that's too gritty. We're going to go ahead and start up with the 180, and then we'll move to the 400, and then we'll go ahead and do the 1500 to make it a nice smooth finish. So right now we're going to start with the 180 grit. We're going to pull that out. Like I said, the 80 grit is a little bit too rough. It's a little too thick. It's almost like it's like really gritty. So that's going to do more damage than good. So we're gonna go start with the 180 and use that to start sanding down the scratch marks here. So you want to use, even that hurts doing that too. What we're trying to accomplish here is sand down the rough texture of, so I can already feel right here it's already working, so it's a little bit smoother. So right here where I sanded it, it's smoother than this. See that? That's actually really rough. You can actually hear it. Where here it's smooth. So let me go ahead and yeah, just continue sanding. Alright guys, I've been working on this for about 15 minutes, and I'm gonna show you some of the progress here. You can tell here it's so rough, and here's where I've been sanding, and it's nice and smooth. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just getting rid of all these rough marks here, so when I go to paint it, it doesn't show through the paint and it shows nice and smooth. Alright guys, so it's taking a little bit longer than I wanted, so I broke down and went and bought a little adapter for my drill here, so I can put a little bit of a sandpaper on there. So right now I have like 400 grit sandpaper on a little grinder, and I'm just taking my time sanding along the wheel, and it's actually helping out a lot better than the hand. You can do it by hand like I said, I was showing you earlier, but this definitely speeds up the process. You don't have to put it on a air grinder like I did, or grinder like I did, that uses air, you can put this on a normal drill, like electric drill if you want, which you can probably control a little bit better. So I'm using this to kind of speed up the process, and it's actually coming out really nice and smooth. So right now I'm just gonna go ahead and do the rest of the wheel, and then we'll get ready for it to paint. Alright, so we got all of it sanded down and nice and smooth all the way around. So we have a nice smooth finish. And there's some spots that do have some lines, but I don't want to sand too deep because then it's going to make the wheel look like it's kind of like it's got a little cave or a dip, and I don't want to go that far in. But like I said, there's some spots like this that you can see that the lines are kind of deep, but I don't want to go any deeper because like I said, I don't want it to look like it's got a crater in the wheel. So I just want to scuff it up to where it's smooth, and I think once I paint it, you won't be able to notice that at all. It's just gonna look like a little line versus all the scratches, but that looks good. Now we're gonna go ahead and clean up the wheel, get all the paint down here that we've sanded off, and get it nice and clean. Okay, so what I used to clean the wheel was this stuff called Wipeout. This stuff is really good. This is what you use to take off any kind of like polishes, strips away all the old wax and stuff like that, and gets the surface really nice and clean. They really use this stuff before you go ahead and like ceramic coat a car or a truck. So this takes off all the old existing oils and waxes and stuff like that, and gets it super clean. So I definitely recommend this stuff. It's called Wipeout by Chemical Guys. I'll link this up below too. But we got the wheel nice and clean. Now we got it ready. Now we gotta tape it off and get ready to paint. I'm actually gonna probably paint the whole outer lip. So if the paint is actually a different color, at least it's uniform all the way around and doesn't stand out. So I'm gonna tape away just the inside of the wheel and paint the whole outside. Alright guys, so I still have some of the plastic wrap whenever I bail under the truck to cover the truck. So I'm going to use some of this to cover the rest of the wheel, and then we can go ahead and cover the outside of the tire so we don't get that painted as well. And then we'll get ready to spray paint. Use this, cover up the wheel. Alright, so what I'm using to cover up the tire is I'm just grabbing like an old magazine and ripping out a page and just folding it in half so the bottom is nice and double layered, so that way it sticks inside of the tire and between the tire and the wheel, and it covers up our tire. I'm just sticking it in there. Like I said, if you don't have if you have like a deck of cards that you don't want to use, those would be easier. Something that's thin and hard actually works better, but this also works as well, just so we don't get paint on the tire. So yeah, let me go ahead and finish the rest. Alright guys, so I am done covering up the tire. Like I said, I just used a old magazine and just folded the pages in half and stuck it between the wheel and the tire. A deck of cards would definitely work a lot better and be a lot faster, but this also works as well if you don't have a deck of cards like I don't. And now we are ready to go ahead and spray paint the wheel. I went ahead and cleaned it again one more last time to make sure we have all of the oils and grease off of the wheel, so we don't have any kind of weird reaction with the paint on the wheel, and it goes on nice and smooth. The paint that I'm going to use, like I said again before, is this. It's like a flat black, kind of like what I have on my truck, like these. So hopefully it matches. It should match pretty well. Like I said, I don't have a gloss on these at all. It is a flat wheel. So yeah, let's go ahead and spray paint and see what happens. So I'm going to start off with some light coats. Alright, so we got the first coat on there. I'm just gonna let it dry up real quick. Looks like it's covering pretty good. And like I said, I don't want to spray on too much because I don't want it to run. I want the first coat to kind of stick to it a little bit, and then we'll hit the second coat, and then we'll lay it on a little bit thicker on the third coat. But this says it dries pretty quick, and looks like we're not having any kind of crazy reactions on the paint or on the wheel, so that's good. That means we cleaned it pretty well. I know if you don't clean the wheel or the surface right with the right, and it still has a little bit of chemicals or oils on there, the paint will actually bubble and look kind of like fisheye and weird. It has a weird reaction, and you have to start over again. But looks like we got a good start. We'll let it dry a little bit longer, and we'll put a second coat on there. Okay, so we have the third and final coat on there, and the outside looks really good. It looks nice and smooth, and we're just gonna wait for the paint to dry before we pull off any of the paper or any of the tape, because I don't want it to pull out the paint. So I'm gonna let the paint dry, and we're gonna see the final results. All right, time to pull off the paper. That actually looks really good. And you almost can't even tell that the wheel was curved. Look at that. And the paint actually matches pretty good. So you're gonna see, like if you get really close, you can see some of the lines where I didn't sand down. But that's if you're like really close, like right there, you can see a little bit. But that's if you're really looking for it. But man, I'm happy with that. It actually looks really good. All right guys, I got the wheel back on the truck, and look at that. Came out really nice. Super good. So if your wheels are messed up or a curb rash like mine were, and you have no excuses, follow the steps I just did. It took no time at all. It took me probably less than an hour to do the wheel and the prep work and the painting. I'm gonna list all the material that I used today's video down below. So if you're gonna get that little sanding, this little sanding adapter here, it definitely helps. Like I said, you can put this on to like a cordless drill. It doesn't have to be a air drill like I used. And little sanding pads as well. These were like little 400 grit sandpapers. That's all it took. It's all I needed. I didn't have to use any other grit besides that. I'm gonna link that stuff out below. The wipeout, I definitely recommend the wipeout, because that's the stuff that's gonna make sure that the paint definitely sticks to the wheel and doesn't react weird. So yeah, if you guys found this video please helpful, please like, please subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one.